Hello Retro Coders. Hello Geomancer. Thanks for joining me straight on. Big welcome. I've had a tiny little play with the code before I went to work. It seems if you were following with the exact lesson or session last time, you'd know that I struggled to see why he wasn't throwing his teeth. And I even wrote a little comment, why he not throw teeth? Well, it seems he was throwing his teeth. I was just changing the border somewhere else in the player class. I thought I checked everywhere. So we'll quickly check this out. So green means he's waiting. Pink means he's throwing his teeth. I'm wondering why it does flash to green occasionally when he's not waiting. Like that. And it does seem once he's thrown his teeth once, he doesn't want to do it again. Oh, he threw him again. So that's working well. We just need to add the teeth. I've drawn some very, very, very shoddy teeth, animated with 2 frames. I think I'll just export them now and paste them in here. I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. Use a bit of sleep. I was I had to work late, unfortunately. I've only just finished. I had to rush around at the end. Overran the shift. Right then, I'm gonna not bother doing this on. Well, why not? Why not? I just put it on the screen while I do it. I made these earlier. They're terrible. Cool, they really are terrible. Thing is, if I added too many pixels in, it that's as close as I can get as well. If you added too many pixels in, like around here, sort of ruin the look of them, of the teeth. I don't want to spend too long drawing. I want to do some coding. I don't want to. It's not going to be a very long video. This again. Let's just see what they look like. They'll do for now. So they're as big as Bob's head, his teeth. They're 16 by 16. Don't want attributes. Interesting technique. What, for drawing? I'm terrible at drawing, especially these teeth. Like, I don't know where to start in just 16 pixels to draw a set of teeth. I'll show you the other frame of animation in a minute. Paste these in first. Okay, that's frame 1. Or frame 0, I should probably say. Looks more like a pint. I'm sure it actually does. It looks awful. But the problem was, so I shouldn't have even left them black pixels in there really. It looks terrible with or without them. But the problem I had, if I tried to draw it any better, I ran out of pixels and like it just looked like literally a random bunch of pixels like it pretty much does now. But I'll see what it looks like when it comes flying out of his head. Anyway, that's that one. Oh wait, I just opened the same one. They look slightly more like teeth there. Oh, using the border colour. Yeah, I just sort of recently thought about it. It works quite well though, doesn't it? Just to see if you're triggering. It's almost like a breakpoint. If you're only going to use breakpoints, but for seeing if you reach a certain point, it's good enough just to change the border like that, pretty much. But of course, you can only do it one time. You can't like do it everywhere in your code in one run. You've got to keep removing it. I actually remember playing a game on the Spectrum where it was like a feature in the game as well. I can't remember what game it was. But when you collide with stuff, it flashed. So it's a bit of a theme for my recent videos, but I'm just taking it slow here after work. I'm not going to over exceed myself. Yeah, I'll be happy just to do some simple stuff really tonight. Hopefully not a lot goes wrong. Cause it's quite scary when you're live and you just haven't got a clue what you're doing. But we got there in the end somehow. We got there. Yeah. Alright, they're okay. So much like the ball, as in BALL, if I get to the second level, does it still let me? Sometimes we're having problems doing that as well. Oh, I haven't got the cheat on either. Bugger. I think I'll activate that. Just so I can run through to level 2 when I want to. Oh, there. I forgot why I wanted to go in here now. Why did I want to go in here? Oh, yeah, because we can grab a ball. Should be able to. Yeah. You have to move towards the bucket and press F. And that's the only function. We haven't made the throwing functionality yet. But much like that, the teeth will appear at Bob. There'll just be no offset. They'll just appear at his origin. And then I want to make a targeting routine, which is going to be very, very basic. It'll just be, if teeth Y is less than Mikie Y, add 1 to Y. It's that sort of targeting. So it'll probably just come and fly right at you every time. You won't be able to avoid it, but I'll see what happens. I'll start with that. So I'm just going to copy the ball, just to get the ball rolling, for want of a better word. Because most of this we can actually copy, almost word for word. Almost line for line, I should say. I've got a major delay on my system all of a sudden. It never used to happen when I'm typing. But I actually freed up. I've got more hard drive space than I used to have. Yeah, see, I just typed. Interestingly, I just got a new keyboard and it's doing it with that. Don't need that. I'll make states. These should go into where the other states are stored, which is in game values. Yeah, look, I'm pressing it. It's playing up, this new keyboard. Oh well, I'll sort it out after for the next stream. Make do with it for now if it works. So I'll do a similar thing for these. Teeth dead is fine. Teeth don't need to be held. I'll put teeth flying. Match it up with what we've got. That's a little bit confusing because it's not 2 this time, but it doesn't really matter. The teeth are even not alive. Hello, Moz. Have you really? That's amazing. Haha. Sweet as, man. I've dragged it to my desktop. As soon as I'm not midway through something, I'll check it out. It's brilliant, man. There's getting some hype behind Spiky now. I've had a couple of other people from my Twitch account who are interested in it as well. I don't think they've got time to join the streams, but they've shown interest and posted some links on something called Barcade or something. I think it only needs them 2 states, you know. They're either alive and flying, or they're dead. So I could have just made one ball instead of using states. That's cool, Moz. That's amazing. Like, of course, if we get this to the stage where it's a complete game, I'll want to try and make a proper loading screen. Something of the similar sort of vibe that they used to have in the Mikie game, you know, where he's like punching the screen sort of thing. And there's hearts flying around. But of course, that's going to come much nearer the end. I haven't got a clue how to do that as well, so you'll have to teach me. Do I want to make a ball, or do I just want to copy like what I've done with ball? Oh god, I can't even press backspace. It's a wireless keyboard. Give me a minute. I'm going to try and like just change the wireless receiver to a different slot and see if that helps me. Because it's struggling at the moment. Okay, I can just only hope that's better. Right, so lots of this isn't needed. They are. There's no difference between having just a ball or a state, because a ball takes up 1 byte for me anyway. So I think I'll just stick with state because we've been doing it on every other thing. Save it being confusing later. Might want some other state as well for teeth, you never know. So we don't need to initialize it to held. What we want to do, that's perfect what it's doing there, except for Bob is where we want to put him. We don't want any offset. And that's the teeth. Mouse mat needs a bit of sorting out. It's quicker just to change it manually, isn't it, really? Right, firstly we've got two, it chatters between two. So we've got to, instead of just pointing at a sprite here, we've got to come up with a way of making it animate. Let's get a drawing first. Just see if they appear. Because maybe I'll do the animation after I do the targeting. I'm not sure yet. I'm sure we've got draw sprite 1616. Good. We probably do want to OR this if we're not already, which we're not. So I'm gonna have to do that find and replace trick. I think I'll just do it on all of them eventually, so I'm not going to make a new one to do this. And what I want to do is just after where I load A with BC, I want to replace it with load A with BC. Whoops, just done something. Right, that's what I want to do. And then load D with H, the contents of H out, or D. That should be fine. I hope. Oh, brilliant! It measures the size of the program. Well, that's okay because we've got enough space just to fit a hallway scenery in, and we're reusing it every time, aren't we? If you know what I mean. So we might just about do it. We can probably find ways to trim some of it down as well. Some of the I've probably got some of it repeated that I don't need to. Do you know what? They're ready to be spawned now. They're not going to do anything when we spawn them, but Bob, where are you? Here, he will throw teeth. Um, cool. Teeth spawn. It's really that straightforward. In the level, we can just call draw teeth every time. If they're not alive, they'll just not draw them. I'm trying to look where draw. Oh, of course, there's not going to be a draw ball because it's not in level 1. Do it straight after the player. That'll be alright. So it's basically on top of everything. The teeth. At this moment, IX, nothing's needed to load with any of them. So I think as we go, this code is getting cleaner. Like I wish I'd been writing this from the start, like in this nature. I think it might be ready to go. Let's see if some teeth come out of him. They're just going to stick to his head and stay where they are forever until we close the game. Oh, okay. Previously fine. I know. I remembered I didn't include teeth either. There's nothing called ball there. I ain't a ball. I haven't changed anything. Ball. Ball dead. Oh, states I'm going to keep in game values, like the actual, the definition of states. The last things to include sprites / teeth.asm. Keyboard's working a treat now. It's funny how just changing the USB slot seems to have fixed it. Oh, you should have spawned teeth then. Twice. Oh, why are we not saying his state there? I'm sure I copied it from the other one. Oh, what am I doing? Can't do that. That's completely wrong as well. There we go. There we go. Come on, Bob. Still no. Oh, there they are. He's thrown 2 lots of teeth already. It's a bit keen. Them teeth look more like a disgusting hamburger from McDonald's. They're too big as well. Maybe I should be making them an 8x8 sprite. They will devour Mikey, them teeth. They're as the size of him. They're bigger than him when he's sitting down. I wish I could spawn some new teeth as well. Are they too big? I don't really want to spend time doing animation of them if I make them smaller, just because it'll probably mean I have to change a few little things in animation. I could do the targeting now. That'll be pretty much the same. Let's make them move. So when they're in flying mode, we'll just load a player X, load B, T-Effect, compare B. I guess the easiest way here is just to have every direction covered. I'm going to always prefix it with teeth. Why not? Just tell it to move. There's nothing else in between you really need to do for this. No collision detection other than Mikey. Oh, I do apologise. I've still got it in that other old mode. Damn it. It was a long night at work today. I'm a bit tired. I forgot to change back. This should be fine for now. You haven't missed anything. Good spot, Moz. I actually do really like this code. I could see myself making 3 or 4 entire games using this exact structure, just copy and paste in this game. Especially if I go back a bit, when it was more simple, when we just created Bob. Well, no, actually, yeah, it'd be better in a week or so when we've actually created all the functionality of Bob, and even copy and pasted another couple of characters together. The others don't fire anything; they just walk around. This is the hardest one first. The only tricky thing here, oh, I suppose I can just, if it's equal, exit. That's okay, yeah. Anyway, I'm doing left first. I probably don't need to jump to it. I can just call it. So player is less than teeth. Go left, isn't it? For the teeth. And if it's not, go right. But what I'll do is, the thing is, see, that means less than. But that actually means more than or equal. So I'll have to do teeth move right. But here I will have to have another load to check that they're not equal. Well, I guess that would also, if they're equal, jump it to somewhere. I only need to check the Y, don't I, after that? So if they are equal, it would have already jumped to here. And if not, it will move. Down here, do the same thing. Because I'm going to make this the very end of the update loop, I'm not going to do any special thing. It's just going to return Z. If it doesn't return because it's not equal, then we'll do the call C, teeth, move up, call NC, teeth move down, return. So now I don't even need to check anything, I can just move it. Bob is being bloody difficult. It has proved more of a challenge than I thought, but I think if you actually think about it, I wasted a lot of time with their nodes. Like I could have done all this yesterday if I didn't slip up at all with the nodes. If I'd just done that right straight away, so I just needed to change that number to 3, and then all my code would have worked first time. I think after I added the ID. Oh well. It's not fully working now. I think some of the nodes are still missing some case scenarios. Should I give him a speed, or should I just make it? It does need to have a speed, because might as well be a constant. But see, what it would just be 1 like normal on the X, and then 8 on the Y. So they're quite quick. They're quicker than Bob and Mikey in the Y direction. Maybe I'll make it 2 even. Thing is, it could miss you then. It could go through you. Let's see how it looks like that. It's so easy when you do it like this, isn't it? It doesn't even take any commentating really, this. It's just the same stuff we've already done. But it's essential, like, to improve the game, you know, to progress. We've got to finish level 1 now. The next interesting thing I think I'll be doing is the hallway. I'll find a way of making that look nice. It was a good learning experience, that. I.e., really, I should probably, where I define the array, the constant to keeping its length should be right next to it, I reckon. But oh well, I've done it in there now. I wouldn't have missed it, would I, if it was right next to it? Okay. As long as we call this, or we should see this from somewhere, then everything will be fine. And this is a level 1 specific thing, really, the teeth. Don't think he does that in level 2. So it makes sense, like we've got teeth draw here, we'll have update. I should separate level 1 update and level 1 draw, then I wouldn't have to do this every time. I will do that at some point. Let's just take one final look at that update. If the teeth are not alive, it just returns and nothing happens. Great. Because we don't want to use too much in there messing around for unnecessarily every frame. Ah, damn it. I've got something wrong. 37. Oh, you can't do that with teeth. Okay. That's a real shame. Quickest way around that is just do that. Then I don't have to change any of the logic. Annoyingly, I have to do it the whole way around. Oh no, that's fine, yeah. No. Line 44 of teeth. Oh. Didn't change it today. Great. Well, something happened with the teeth. But they don't seem to be responding to the X. Is that because Mikey's not stood up? I mean, obviously he shouldn't be able to throw his teeth. Well, yes he should actually. Because he does in the game. I'll try restarting it and just standing up straight away. Oh, it followed me a bit. To the right at least. Okay. Firstly, I think I slow them down a little bit by half, so they're the same speed as us now. Hmm. The only thing I can imagine is, well, no, because right's right down here. Look, I was going to say maybe it's somehow getting corrupted before it gets to there or something. The flags. He put a bit of curve on that one, didn't he? Yeah. Funny how it works to the right and not the left. Of course, I can just check if teeth are already alive and then not have Bob spawn anymore. That's not going to be a difficult thing to do. But I'm more worried about why the teeth aren't moving left. Teeth X are smaller than player X. And they are, but they don't move. Just out of interest. So if I go past it to the right, it should move left. It does. Trip out city. So I get up and go left. Just goes down to join my... Up doesn't seem to work either. So down works. Yeah, see? So right and down are the only ones working. Sub doesn't seem to work. Can you do... Can you do that? I've never tried this. Or if I have, I don't remember doing it. It's not going to like that minus sign, is it? Come on, Bob. Come on, teeth. Hello. It works. Like I said at the start, they're invincible. You know, you cannot miss them. It reminds me of that thing in Zelda. Have you ever played that? I don't think you have. If you ever played Mario, but the thing that nicks your shield. Likes they're called. Looks like a like's got you. Ah. Yeah, so I need to come up with some way. This is just too insane. You know, you can't avoid them. I wonder how it needs to aim perhaps at the player's previous position or something like that. Once it's thrown, that's what needs to happen. Right. So I need to make one extra state. I need one for aiming. And then it checks that. And then it'll have to set the direction. Homing teeth, yeah. They were lethal. They were unescapable. They would defeat any enemy, I think. Can you imagine? You're in a room, 5 meters by 5 meters with desks in it. He's got the ultimate weapon there. The teeth envelop you completely, so you can still move, but they got you. And he has the power just to put them back into his mouth and chuck them at you again whenever he wants. He's a catch. I think that was a great idea what I just had though, actually. So I need an aiming state and direction, which we have neither of right now. And I'll just aim, set a direction, and then it'll aim directly at you. Well, it won't be able to, will it? It'll be completely dumbfire, actually. Like, it'll just aim in your general direction. But that's the only way it can be that I can think of. Because otherwise I'd need a fraction of a... I'd need to work out some sort of fraction, wouldn't I? To work out... Oh, there is maths behind it. You can do it, can't you? But I've never done it. I struggle with it, even with game engines with floating points and built-in functions to get square root and stuff like that. But I think you could use Pythagoras theory to work out exactly what angle to aim at. If you really... But it's impossible in a spectrum as far as I can work. Let's go into here. I could always use the existing directions. No, I couldn't. What I need to do here is to set like a vector, but like a unit vector, you know, so it's only 1 or 0. I've definitely got to think of a good tagline in relation to Bob and his teeth for the game. It'll be, because I am going to make a cassette cover. I'm going to spend, I know I'm crap at art, but if I set my heart to it, I can make some good art, you know. Especially if I use a 3D modelling thing to make the art, and then I'll snapshot it. But in fact, I think I can draw a nice one if I try my hardest. So I'm going to do that, and then it's going to have a fold out thing with Teacher Bob, Taphead. I mean, I'm guessing Taphead's the school mascot, but there seems to be like 2 or 3 of them walking around. Do you know what? I'm kind of thinking Bob's teeth need a direction ball for each one of them, so I can set it on the aim. Well, I suppose, well, yeah, because then otherwise it could never go straight. Because don't forget, I can't use any minus numbers for this calculation, as far as I. even though I just have to move them. Well, I just can't figure it out. I can use them as constants, it's fine, which is what I just did a minute ago, what you probably saw on teeth. For some reason, when I tried to sub teeth Y, it didn't work, so I added A with minus teeth Y and that works. But... Hi, by the way, Flick the Fox. Thanks for joining us. Because I would love to build... I'll lay the foundations anyway of what I was going to do, and then I'll figure out this numbers thing in a minute. For a start, there was teeth state. Let's have flying as 2, like the other one. So that's opened up a bunch of work already, because I've got to make another update state here. Okay, that can go there. Yeah, hiya friend. I'm pretty much a novice as well. I've been coding for many years, just on my own, fiddling around, but nothing really special. I've also had a dabble with Unreal Engine. I will do some of that. I actually like Unity though, everything other than the networking for making internet ready games. Good luck to you, my friend. It's fun. I highly recommend Unity because their tutorial, I've followed both Unreal and Unity tutorials as a beginner, and I got much more progress making games with Unity quicker. But Unreal is more powerful. But I actually think if you don't know that much about programming, it's worth Unity. Will give you a quicker like playground to play with, and you'll learn the mistakes quicker because you won't, it. Well, it's up to you to make your decision, of course, but Unreal's mega hard. Yeah, I remember having trouble with that. Forward ray tracing, I use that to pick things up, pick items up and stuff like that, or to obviously check a collision. That's the same as ray casting, they call that in Unity. Good evening, Coda Mick. You'll want to check out Coda Mick's channel, Flick, because he's doing C++. Brilliant. You're making big steps there, Flick. You get a lot of watershed moments. You just suddenly understand massive parts of it. If you keep chipping away at it. Good job to you. That's the beauty of it. It is for everyone. And then you understand it, you see, if you write it like your way. Good for you, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing Unreal and then downloading this and doing some Z80 for the Spectrum as well. It won't hurt you at all. It'll help you. So anyway, I've created this aiming state. This is where I want to check this instead of that other one. And I'll probably either change the name of these and change their function because I don't want them to change their speed. In fact, let's leave them. They will do the movement of the teeth, but I won't call them from here. We'll just set a direction. And I'm going to do what I said. It's a bit lame, but this is going to do for me. I'm going to have a ball for every single direction. I win 32. Do you know, I'm nearly always coding in win 32 as well. People used to say when I used to learn, just do it in win 32 and then it runs on every machine. Boolean. All it means is I'm going to write, this is all I mean, I'm going to write teeth, aim, up. That's my bool. It gets confusing because I've got a ball, a bool. I'm going to keep these in the teeth because I want to make them proper variables. Okay, so I can just set that to true now if I want it to be aiming up. But I want all of them because I was thinking I could get away with just having 2 and have it true or false, but then there's no 0 in the middle then. If I want it to stay dead still, I want all these to be false. Let's read your comments a sec. You took Code and Mick. Yes, I did fix the issues from this morning. There was actually no issue, believe it or not. The only issue was I was setting the border to test if it was throwing teeth, if you remember. I don't know exactly where it is now. It's in Bob. Let's look at it, why not? Yeah, so I was setting the border pink to signify that he was throwing teeth. And it wasn't happening. But all that had happened was I was setting it to another colour in the wrong place and we just weren't seeing it. I tested it with some other stuff. Well, in fact, I went round and I removed all of the set borders. And then the pink happened and the teeth do spawn. We've added that. They look terrible. I've drawn them. They're an abomination. But they, represent teeth for us right now. And that'll do. I'll have similar as these, but I'll just call it aim. Boolean is just a true or false, so you can use it in whatever way your mind can imagine that you want to use it. Do you know what I mean? It could just signify that something has moved once, or it could signify that it's moved this frame, or it could signify that it's upside down, or it could signify anything. All I have to do in that is to set that bool to true. Aiming up. I haven't named these very well, they're a little bit confusing. There we go. And then I'll have to adjust my movement code in a minute to react to whatever these are suggesting. So this is only going to get set once when he throws the teeth. You aim at Mikie as best he can. So you're going to easily be able to dodge these teeth now. But hey ho. It's better than not being able to dodge them whatsoever. like Moz says with homing teeth. You know, no good whatsoever. So each one will just get set to true if I call that. Very simple stuff. Okay. ITO. That can just have a return. It does nothing right now. That's where I need to do my movement. Oh, I was just thinking about tidying it up, but I think I'll just move them down like that. So here's our main update loops. Aiming. I took care of aiming, but flying now does nothing. Let's move aiming up. No, what am I doing? Because I'm just trying to not be lost later, but I want all my update loops together actually. We just need to call these. Yeah, it's really that straightforward. If A is I just go through each one of these balls. If they're true, call a relevant move. So call Z, and obviously compare true. So load the value of the byte in there. Check if it's true. If it is, move up. So just a very rudimental aiming, pre-aimed, and then it just stays in that direction the whole time, like any projectile would. The absolute problem is it can only go, it can't aim at you properly. You have to be exactly diagonal with the teacher for this to even be aiming at you, or completely straight with him. But unless anyone can think of a better one, quantum computing. I don't understand quantum computing at all. My mate tried to explain it to me years ago. The bits aren't 0 or 1, they can be anything. It's like, well, how can you program a computer like that? But I can understand why it's good for getting a random number, I guess. That's wrong. That's right. I mean, I could squeeze it down and I could have 8 balls in one byte if I wanted. And then I'd have to either roll through all the bytes and check the one I wanted, which would be loads on the processor for no reason. or there is a bit instruction where you can go to bit 7 or whatever. But again, it uses quite a lot of T states, as it's called on the spectrum, like memory processor sort of ticks, for want of a better word. So you may as well not do it, because it's also complicated on the brain. That's my beginner's opinion on the matter anyway, and I've already forgotten what I was talking about. I sounded Canadian then again. About, can't even do it. About this house. Computers haven't taken over yet. In Terminator, they predicted it would have already happened by now. I was waiting for it. It's getting there though. I think this will actually work now. So at the point, I need to change it to in spawn. Change that to aiming. So at the point it gets spawned, it sets it to Bob's position, sets its state to aiming, comes down. It's getting updated every frame. It's going to become aiming. That'll set his position. I then need to set it to flying. There we go. So now that should be fine. It'll aim once and then become flying, and it'll just fly in the direction we tell it to at that point. Come on, Bob. Like I said, I'm not bothered about him chucking loads and respawning them and that, because we can easily we can get around that. It wasn't perfect by any means, but oh look, they're flying through the top now. We need to do lots of things, like in the teeth we need to check if it goes out of boundaries and kill it, just set it to dead. In Bob we need to check if teeth are dead and only spawn if they are. And that's it really for now. So let me write them two things down. Check boundary and set to dead. In Bob, check if dead before spawning. I'm getting lots of pink interference all over my monitor. It's really worrying me. Hopefully just the wires loose. It looks like it's a spectrum at the moment. I get those magenta lines across my screen. I get a big deal. I tell you what, I was playing on that retroachievements.org and there's a chess game on that. And I played it on the highest level. My god, it's insane. I'm pretty sure it would beat any human. I mean, I'm terrible at chess, but it just wipes me out. And I'll tell you how I tested it. I tried it out. I went on to like a chess tournament website, played it, and put in the moves they did against this guy, against the AI, you know. So I just copied the AI's moves, and it wiped the floor with them, and I felt bad. Confessions time. It was funny though because it was like a NES chess game. So them two things are going to improve the game massively. I obviously, of course, also want to check player teeth collisions, and that's roughly about it with the teeth then. I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, it is. It's too ambitious to try and colour them in. Because only the outline will be coloured anyway. Hi, Fractal Mike. Well, let's see if I can do these three things then. The first one's boundary. I'm just going to make a routine called boundary check. And it's going to set it to dead if it hits the boundary. That's not, as soon as it even clips the edge of the screen, it'll get killed. See you in a minute, Nick. Don't know what I was trying to do there. Right, so that'll set it to dead. I was thinking about jumping to that actually. I think I will. But I'll also be able to call that if I want to as well, just that. But from here I can jump to it for each one. I think to be safe, I'm going to put +1 there, and I'll jump C, which is less than, not less than or equal. I don't know why I did it backwards as well. Normally I do the min first and then the max. Don't know what made me do it backwards this time round. Basically the same thing applies. The exact same thing actually. With that one, I can just do the min Y because it'll just go up the wall a bit further. It won't go out of the screen. I don't know why I put NC. Oh yeah, that is correct on the max. Yes, it is. Again, NC more than or equal C less than. Alright, well, if it doesn't jump, yeah, of course there's a chance it's within the boundary, so I'll return. If it doesn't jump to any of those. And of course it's only while it's flying we want to do this. It will return out, so I don't want to move it after it flies. Well, it'll be dead. But yeah, I don't want to move it before we actually kill it. Teeth boundary check. Oh, cool, teeth boundary check. There was another thing I just thought of then. Oh yeah, when it's dead. Yeah, absolutely nothing happens with it. That's okay. I was just wondering if it was still going to be ticking up these values in the background, even though it wasn't drawing it. But it's going to stop drawing it, and it's going to stop updating it as soon as it detects the boundary. It should just work straight off the bat. This, so it should go flying off the screen and just not glitch the game out now. Just disappear. I'd love some better sprites for these teeth. Yeah, that did work. You can chuck more now because they've gone. Although no, I didn't even change that yet, did I? But anyway, that works. I mean, he's not designed to chuck teeth every time he stands still. It's only sometimes. And it obviously does depend on the seed you use, the random seed. There's some more. Oh, they've just stopped there. I'm not sure why that would be. Well, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen for now. Because I was working through a little list of things. There it is. So I think that's done. In Bob, check if it's dead before spawning. That's not Bob. Yeah, it's only in level 1 he throws his teeth. So I'll put it here. So this is what I love about assembly language. It's as simple as just doing load a teeth current state, compare dead, teeth dead. If it is equal to that, called teeth spawn. So now he can never chuck multiple teeth. If they're still on the screen, he won't just chuck a new set at you, which was happening before. I don't think we'll notice that now because I've done it in the wrong order there. They'll fly off the screen pretty much before he can throw them. I mean, it's literally impossible for him to throw them now if they're on the screen. For some reason, with that seed we've got, it's good because it throws them straight away, but then it goes for ages here without throwing them. But if you watch the video I made before, I coded it. I didn't want him to throw them that often because I want to be able to up the difficulty later. I've ended the level because I've got the cheat on. Okay, so that's 2 things done. This is where I changed his teeth and made it more likely. I actually should be using that, and then it'd be less likely that he throws teeth. But we want him to throw it a lot. I am a cheater. Got it, man. It's got to be done sometimes. Get the advantage. Right, so that's Bob sorted for teeth. And I think that one's checked off the list. So now it's just checking the teeth of collision with the player. To be honest, I'm not that hyped about doing that right now because we haven't got player lives put in. So it'll just be a case of making the border flash again when the teeth hit him. It's going to be really easy but boring, I think. What else is there? I really do need to make some graphics now. because really this is about the only thing I can do actually, without drawing Tapman or the hallway, because there's a few hallway levels I've got to make. That's going to be a big challenge because, well, that's going to take quite a lot of work relaying. We've just been copy and pasting levels right now because they're all in that room, but I'll have to fully create like a different type of level. It's not that much different, but you have like doors on one level and then you go down some stairs and there's doors downstairs that you've got to get to. There's a couple of enemies either side of the door basically. I may even just not bother with hallways. That's it for the whole game. Just have the 5 room levels instead. I think that's more than likely what I'm going to do actually. He's throwing his teeth, everything's working. Let's just implement the collisions on the teeth and that'll probably be it. I'll make it, probably finish it there to be honest for the night so I can have a bit of a rest. By the way, normally I have Mondays and Tuesdays off, but this week it's Tuesday and Wednesday, so that'll be my long streams. But until then I'm just taking it easy because I'm getting a bit tired. But yeah, I think we can do collisions before I bail off to bed. I'm just thinking about where I want to put that really. Probably just in player here, where we've got like the collision with everything else. Basket. I think this is where I'm going to put it. Let's just copy the door because it's very similar. I'm sure I've done this the other day though. Ah, yeah, let's copy Bob. So the player Bob collision code because I cleaned it up a bit when I done that one. I'll probably end up making a file just called collisions because there's so many of them now. Just filling up this player class otherwise. So we'll need to make this ball that doesn't exist, but I'll do that in a minute. And it's really as straightforward as just copy and pasting. The offsets we'll have to add maybe in a minute. Just changing it all from Bob to teeth. I could talk through what all the code's doing, but most of you guys have been watching for a long time and I'd be repeating what I've already repeated several times. It's essentially just loading the teeth's position in, loading the players in, checking that it's less than every time. between these, and then adding offsets to give a small amount of width and height of the bounding box. Basically, if we get to this here, it's true, we have collided. This might make it like 1 pixel out, 1 character cell out in height. I'll leave it there for now. Alright, so quickly make that bool. So that should be more obvious, and just put all them as false. Makes it easier to see that they're true or false things. It's already working, we've just got to call it in the code. I forgot what it was called now. Yeah. Oh, that needs changing as well. That's basket. God, where have I put it? I was halfway through changing it. Yeah. Yeah, because we've only got one set of teeth. There's no array of teeth. That's why it's much more simple than all these other ones. It's very, very simple. Inside, most likely level 1, we'll check the collisions, where we're doing most of the other collision checks. It's not there actually. Just here. I mean, as a right hack together just to finish off this session. It's a shame to finish it, but I'm tired. I can't really think of much to add. I want to draw some graphics and add a new character next. I'm just going to quickly add the game over functionality, but it won't do anything. It'll just stop everything from updating. But I can even just put it into game values here. In fact, there's already game state. Just put game over equals 255. Doesn't matter what it equals. When we're in one of the level, it was probably the actual main spiky class actually. The main spiky class here. People who've been viewing this for ages will remember I talked about jumping here, and I said I should probably change them to calls. I don't really like that it jumps. What it does is it hits this main function, decides whether it's in main menu level 1 or level 2, and jumps there and stays there. So what I actually want to do, if I want to make a game over script now, for example, I have to add it to each one of those updates. I can't just add it here, because once it gets into these updates, it stays there. and I'm going to change that. That's going to be another thing I do in the next couple of days. I'm going to make all these calls, and they will all have to return. I'll have to be quite careful. I could end up breaking the code. All of these will need to change. But for now, I'll just, in level 1 only, allow game over to happen. Did I just bypass that? Yes, see, already here. It's a right pain the way I've set that up. Because to make a game over using the state, which I would like to do, I have to create one of these to set it to that state, which then jumps to main. It's really goofy. I mean, of course I can do it right now. Shouldn't be begin game over, but I'm going to put it anyway. Because it's like another level, basically. I can set a little screen. I'll clear the screen. Actually, this is unnecessary here for what I'm doing right now, because although it will reach here, I'm not going to be doing anything in the update. There's not going to be any update for the game over. Whatever that'll do. But it will still stop this from being updated. So all I actually need to do is call that now to make it a game over. Didn't I just do the collision? Yeah, I did. So as I keep saying about these balls, I don't need to even bother with them. I'm acting on it straight away. I don't need to save to cache a value of whether we're colliding. But I think later in life we're going to need them. That's why I keep making them. Let's see if that works. The only annoying thing is you have to be so dead in line with the teeth the way I've set this up. They don't have like a bounding box. They have to collide with you exactly. And in fact, one cell down, so they have to collide with your middle cell, not your top one. Go on. Ah. Oh, it maybe should have game over then. Maybe I haven't done this right. Throw more teeth at me. I could put his teeth throwing chance to 100%, but then it's, I've got to remember how I got the code set up. That's one from a day off when I do like a 4. Oh, look, finally got the game over because I was stood right on top of him when he threw. So it does work. It just needs a bigger boundary, like a bigger bounding box. I've literally made it 1 pixel. But how big do I want to make it? Yeah, thanks, Moz. It is coming along. The progress has slowed because we got to the more difficult waters to tread now, But thank you, Mike. Much appreciate it. I really do. If only I finished work 1 hour earlier. They keep keeping me on really late, but if I finished that a little bit earlier, I'd have much more energy for my videos, you know. But I didn't get back until what, gone 11:30 now. This time I've just been working solid, so wasn't quite at my full energetic self. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of like only one box. There's I do the box in the player, and it just. But I'm calling it a bounding box, but that's not really what it is. It's just an offset at the point of contact, if you understand what I mean. So I'm saying if the teeth X is less than player X, get out, there's no collision. But if I put, if teeth X is less than player X, take away player width, or take away offset, like, this is where I need to make one called like teeth collision box offset, for example. I noticed sub not always working though. I can't now trust sub because I've actually proved it not working. When I added A with a minus value, that worked, but if I'd done sub with the same value, it did not work. But what I want to do is I want to do that tomorrow, because I'll be much more focused and I want to make sure I get it right. But all I'm really doing is adding an offset there to make it more lenient so that it doesn't get out, it collides more. And the offset will be half of the player's width more often than not. Everything in Spectrum is talking about in character cells for the width as well, so there's very little lenience. I either give him a whole character cell or none, or two, you know. In the Y it's a bit better because you can do just one line if you want to. There's not much more I can add. I could go through the hassle right now of copying this and making it into a game over screen. We just saw the game over occur, but there's no screen telling you it's game over, it's just a grey screen. But yeah. Oh yeah, let's check that out before we go. Good shout, Moz. You've got a much better memory than me, man. I'm just zonked. Let me load that a second. Nice one, Moz. I forgot all about it. I dragged it onto my desktop and then it loads so slow. I've been loading it ever since you said it, and here it is still loading. Right, finally we're getting somewhere. Well, hey. Is it too loud, do you reckon, or will it be okay? Should be okay. This looks mint. I love the graphic of the tape there with the writing, that's awesome. Oh, this is mega. You got to teach me how to do this. Do you know when I first started assembly coding about 2 months ago, this is all I wanted to do. Just this. but I couldn't find out how to do this, and I ended up making a game instead. That's amazing, man. Great work. Oh, the colours there as well. How sick. That's really amazing. I take it you've managed to copy and paste my logo. It looks exactly the same. The top bit. Oh, them sounds. I love them. Reminds me of being a kid. Is that through a legitimate Spectrum? That's not, is it? Through the emulator, isn't it? You know, I wrote real hardware on the other one. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just got duped. That's the same font I used, actually. I think it's called that. That's brilliant. Epic. How have you done the colour? Doesn't that, you know, on Z80 assembly, isn't that like a colour that's not even in the Spectrum? I like the tape. Yeah, I said that a minute ago. It looks great. It tells you, like you say, the length. That's cool. And the start point. This is brilliant. Is it possible to have more than one load screen? I just wondered. It would be cool to have a sort of cutscene as a loading screen, like 3 or 4 different pages of this story. That would be cool. Oh man, it's coming along, isn't it? Once I make a nice main menu, nice UI on the right there. We've got the teeth already. That's brilliant, man. Thank you for making that. Great work. Oh, I am buzzing to carry on, but there's nothing I can do in the space of like half an hour. All right, countdowns. I've seen some games that have that, but I thought they were on the Commodore, the ones I saw. But maybe it was on the ZX actually. Yeah, it's best to, because otherwise I do sometimes suffer with complete burnout, and obviously I can't ditch work off, so I'll end up just ditching the channel off for a bit, which I don't want to do. I want to make sure these midnight ones are around almost every night. Yeah, it's great fun. I'll either be on in the day for a very small one again, or I'll do some work on it behind the scenes, like drawing, and we need some sort of something else to add. Either the hall. I'm thinking about ditching off the hallway, completely. I want to end this, get it to the end. So I'm going to go for Taphead next. We need Taphead. We need the cheerleaders. And then the last thing we need that I can think of is his girlfriend that you get at the end. There's a janitor as well. Yeah, thanks, Moz. I'll look out for that. I mean, I'm not going to turn my attention to it just yet. I don't reckon. Now I know. Now the knowledge I've built up from doing this, I think it's going to not be that hard to do. It's just finding the right way of doing it, isn't it? Looks like you've obviously sussed it out already. I'm about to have another smoke, so I'm here just to chat for a little while if you guys are up for it. But probably won't add any more code unless I can think of something very easy. Have one more look at the game. I feel like I've just accidentally typed a load of stuff in there. Oh, it works anyway. Wait. I've got to make him hunt you down more. That's the only thing now, is making Bob actually chase you. But honestly, I might have to play a bit of the existing Spectrum one because I'm not sure he does chase you or not. I know that what happens is if you sit down, he tends to go back up towards the top a bit more rather than what he's doing there. And why does that happen as well? I'll have to look in. These are all things I've got to look into. Is it a doddle? Yeah, brilliant. I noticed in ZX Paintbrush there's like a way of making a loader, like a screen dollar sign or something. I'm not sure if that's a loading screen, but look, the teeth have stopped moving for some reason there. Something's happened to them. I believe the problem with that is where I'm setting the states of the teeth. I need to be more careful. Something is got stuck there. It should be dead, you know, if it's going to do that. As a real cheat on that, I might try it right now. I could just have. This seems a bit silly, but I could check if all of them are false. Kill it. Hmm. Now I'll think of a better way because the teeth shouldn't be spawning at zero velocity like that. But I was about to hard code in a check if all of these are false to kill the teeth. So I'll have a little look at the collision for the teeth. I'll add that offset thing I was talking about. But I'll just use the player's width as the offset. So I'll just add player width. It's going to make it much easier for the teeth to collide, as far as I can tell. Because A has to be less than B for it to return out. So for example here we can just comment that out. That should actually make it quite a bit better. The teeth should collide with you like from quite a distance now if they're near you. And that's what I want right now as a test, and then I'll fine tune it a bit somehow. Oh, they're not going to club me like that. Oh, I didn't get a game over. I think the min thing is too keen as well. It killed the teeth too quick. Let me restart the game, and I'm going to try and hit them first teeth. Damn. Okay, it's not working as I wanted. I always end up having trouble with the collision thing here. I don't know why. In my head it looks so correct. But it's something that I always seem to have a little bit of trouble with. Just the offsets. Of course, I think I've made it harder, haven't I? So that one was correct. I want to be increasing A every time here. This is what I really need to do. Or in this instance, I can just decrease B, of course. It does the same thing. Yeah, that's really positive. Thank you for everyone viewing, by the way. I really appreciate it. Give me a follow and come back and watch. I'll keep this series going until it's a full game. You'll be able to buy it on tape if you really want to, or just download the tape file and make your own. Or even download the assembly and build your own and then make it. Could be even better. That's what this course is all about. Yeah, this is definitely the last thing I'm trying. I'm just trying to fine tune these bounding offsets. And I think I've done it in the wrong direction when I was chatting away. But this time I've done it right up until there. I'm going to try that. I'm going to add it again with the player's width here. So I think we're very likely to collide with the teeth now. I've saved it. I'm compiling it. I'm going to try and hit them teeth. This is it. If it doesn't work, I'll sort it out tomorrow. Oh, there you go. See? Game over. I hope the views on YouTube do grow. At the moment, it's only when I post on social media, like with specific things, you know, but I can't post the same things all the time, so I need to wait till I start making newer, you know, different levels and different characters, and then I can post that. I don't want to keep posting the same, you know, teacher and Mikie, because people will just probably get annoyed with it. But yeah, it is growing slowly. I'm sure it will. If I can continue this through to the end, get it onto like the archives of where the tape files are kept, you know, as a 2020 release. That will make a massive difference, I believe. I'm finishing my smoke now. I'm going to quickly copy this because it's only going to take me a minute. Oh, I have thought about doing it, but I'm nowhere near professional enough to teach to charge someone. Otherwise, I have considered it. It would be a great thing to do one day if I improve enough. You never know. One of my YouTube series in the future, I might be able to just take it off YouTube and put it onto one of them. But this one obviously is far too casual, which I'm enjoying that way. Atari, yeah. That I really want to make an Atari game because they're so simple. They're small. When I say simple, there's no complex stuff in them. They can't do it. So, but one amazing little thing is they've got the paddle, haven't they? So they've got they must have floating point, mustn't they? To be able to take the analog. I think all the inputs come directly from the machine. Yeah, it certainly would be something simple like Snake. I mean, I find games like Space Invaders actually easier than Snake, no lie. But maybe I should focus on something like Snake. It would be a fun one. Paste that in there. I'll just change it. It's going to be very quick, this. Just so that when we get game over, it actually says game over. That can probably just remain the same. I can't spell game over today. Perfect. It should actually function properly as well. I don't know, yeah. Oh, let's have a look, yeah. That would be an amazing way of doing it. Why isn't it done? Maybe we can do something like that on this. That sounds like a great idea. The only thing is with me rushing to do this is... Oh, it's going to jump to main, yeah. Okay. So I can just uncomment this. Is there not a game over update? Oh, that's why. Brilliant. Let's see if I can quickly get a game over then. Oh. 942 game over previously defined. Of course. Okay. I mean, I could share that with main menu update. I could just delete that and call main menu update and it would do the same thing, but obviously I don't want to do that because I want completely different functionality. So really I've just got to prefix that. Geo, game over. Well no, let's write game over. Doesn't really matter. I'll probably change all of this. Oh, still don't like something. I can't spell game over. Alright, throw an MT at me, boy. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Begin game over. Not there. Sure, I just need to jump to something instead, that's all. Seems to have a halt there for some reason. I don't think that'll fix it, it might do, but nah. Yeah, good shout, Moz. I'll give up here because I'll probably do it in 5 minutes tomorrow. I've had enough today. Been rushing around like a nutter. Hey Geo, I'm just finishing, my man. Sorry about that. But we've implemented quite a lot. We've got the teeth flying around, they're aimed at you somewhat. And there's a game over scenario that occurs if you get hit by the teeth. Obviously I've got to change that because you just reduce a life, really. He has some lives. But that's all going to come tomorrow. Probably no stream in the day because I'm going to draw some characters. Nah, no problem, Geo. They're always going to be there on YouTube. Of course, of course. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything. Oh, well, next time, Geo. Next time. Like I say, I probably won't do one in the day tomorrow. Very unlikely, unless I'm feeling really energetic. But as soon as I get back from work again, 11:30ish, I'll be on for a few hours. And then the big one's coming on Tuesday. I'm going to put in a good 8-hour sesh throughout the day. Get loads of these levels made. I think by the time Wednesday is finished, so we've got Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 big ones. I'm really thinking, you know, we'll be on the finishing touches stage by that time. I hope. I'm glad a lot of you seem to be sticking around. We've had a good view count. This is really exciting stuff. If you haven't already done so, check out my YouTube Retro Coder TV. Same likewise if you're the other way around. Come over to my Twitch, Retro Coder ASM. It may be Retro Coder TV soon. Good night to all of you. Moz, Geo. I know there's more of you. Mike, Fractal Mike's there. Yeah. Coder Mick. Flick, if you're still there. Everybody, thank you again. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye bye.